I was reading the comments on the last video, and it seemed like you guys like the hodgepodge videos, even if they are a little bit all over the place. So I'm gonna kind of bring you in on the secret shoot that we are doing and kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what I've been up to. Right after the barbecue, the morning after, I flew it at 6 a.m. to Missouri to go do a top secret shoot with RTR. In this little building here, there's a bunch of go-karts and stuff because we're actually at an Airbnb that's like motorsports themed. We've got all the RTR cars here. Vaughn's is over there, Chelsea's right here, and they're all decked out in lights because it's a night shoot. Believe it or not, we've been shooting from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So it's been a little tough to get on the sleep schedule. That's why if you saw my stories, things have been kind of late. But I'll show you a couple of little clips of this property, what I can film, because it's pretty wild. A common question I get at events is, am I driving the demo car or is it like the real comp car? And I'm gonna let you guys know the easiest way to tell the difference is by the wheels. If you look, we're on 20s on the demo cars. So if you look and you see we're on the big wheels, that means they're the demo cars. And if we're on 18s, that means it's the FD car. These are supercharged. These make, I think, like around 800 horsepower, where the FD cars make like 1200 horsepower. They're all motor with nitrous. These are also a little bit less hooked up, since on the rear we're on 20s with 275s instead of 315s. I've never been a part of a production this big, so it's been a pretty cool experience for me, especially with the whole night shoot aspect. I think there's like over 30 people here, a lot of talented people, and the content that we've been filming is crazy. You guys won't see it probably for a month or two, but I want to show you this. This massive Airbnb has a banked corner around the back of it, which is hilarious because it's just what we did to the compound house. And I think some people commented about this, but I had no idea because I never knew that this was a thing here. This is like top of third gear corner. Mine's like a bottom of second gear corner. So this is definitely leveled up quite a bit, but sliding this thing 3 cars deep in the night, spicy. I think honestly one of the highlights of this whole filming process for me was literally waking up from a nap. I was literally falling asleep on the couch while we were waiting for some stuff to be done to the cars in between little sessions. Waking up and then in like the matter of a minute, hopping back in the car and laying down probably one of the most heater runs I've done of the entire weekend. I think I expected everyone to think I was gonna drive like a just because I had just woken up and was like literally falling asleep as I got in the car, and everyone was super stoked and I was stoked, and that was definitely my highlight of this trip. But we got another night shoot going on tonight. Can't film any of it. I'm doing that, and then I'm literally driving straight from here at 6 a.m. no sleep, going to the airport for my next adventure. It's funny how now after the compound I look at different things when I go places. Like as an example, I've been checking out these barriers, pretty similar to what I want to pick up for the compound and line around the back edge of my bank. And what's cool about them is they link together. So I dragged my bumper on these a couple times. They don't go flying or eat the car. They just kind of push together like a slinky. Lauren's also out here driving the Fun Haver Ultra 4 Bronco, and there may just be a gnarly jump or 2 or 3. Wrapped up early this time, 3:40 a.m. and now I'm heading straight to the airport for leg 2 of my journey. I was able to even take a shower, and I think I'm going to get to switch to an earlier flight, which is very exciting news for me. Like bombing a dirt road somewhere in Missouri, coming to a town near you. That's me. Time check, it's now 1 a.m. and I'm in Fort Myers. I barely made it. I was so tired, and it was actually so early for my plane that I fell asleep waiting. I had an alarm set to wake myself up, and somehow the person knew, and when it was last call to get on the plane, they woke me up and knew somehow that I was the last missing person on the plane. I have no idea. I wasn't even sitting near my gate. I guess it'll stay a mystery, but I made the flight, slept a bit, I'm off to the next destination. I decided to scrub part 2 of the adventure from this video. Basically, I talked about this in my YouTube member section. I'm kind of in a weird predicament where there's a lot of new cars that I've bought throughout the entirety of 2022, that all happen to be coming in around the same time. So I want to pose a question to you guys. I've already posed a question to them, and I feel like I have a general understanding of what's going on. Either I delay them to when I can dedicate more time to the cars, or I've been kind of around with the idea of just literally doing a week of daily uploads. We can call it New Car Week, and each day there'll be a different one presented in like order of like probably worst to best, and we can do lap times with them, and it would be pretty comical because they're like very, very different. So you'll see I'm standing behind a pond right here that is covered in vegetation and lots of random stuff, because what you're about to see is the concrete guys were killing it so much in everything that they were doing to like clear the land for the concrete, that I asked them about clearing the 2 ponds in front of the building, because I saw some old pictures of the property that had those ponds with no kind of like vegetation or anything, and they were just like bone dry, just beautiful ponds. And they quoted me on it, and they got it knocked out, and Mike was able to capture it while I was away. So you guys are going to see the before and after of the ponds with a bunch of vegetation like this, and then the ponds looking clear and beautiful, which now make me really stoked. I've been really enjoying making this property look nicer, and yeah, we'll launch into that now. One thing we didn't think through fully, when the ponds got cleared, there's a lot of little critters that started coming out because we f***ed their home. Sorry critters, but it was real sketchy. There's like gators and things croaking and snakes that were eating Mike's little toes while he was getting in his car late at night. So now we can see all of our predators clearly. And what's weird about it is now that this pond area is open, it makes me want to drift that corner there that I never had any desire to drift. So that might become something that gets added to the V2 of like creating a little inlet and outlet there. But Mike's real stoked because he won't really need to walk anymore when he's filming. He can just kind of stay in one spot and he can film everything. Before, it involved a lot of physical exercise and like moving, like you would need to get in a golf cart and like drive somewhere. Now that's not as much of a thing. We're gonna hope that grass grows here and it'll look real nice. Let's go look at the other one. I'm not a real landscaper, but something that kind of bothers me looking at this, the pond is like kind of offset in this grass patch where I feel like my brain tells me either we need to make the pond bigger so it comes up closer to this edge, or we need to add more concrete and bring the concrete closer to the pond so that way it's like the same distance around it.
I'm a big concrete guy.
Yeah, well now that I have a concrete guy, it's like I could say that and then we could actually do it. Before, all this happened because I messed up my concrete by my house, and when I had them come out to quote that, I was like, oh, could you do this? What about this? Next thing you know, drift complex. I'm really stoked on this one because this one has a lot of pretty trees that got left behind. And also too, there's this little opening behind these two trees here that I feel like is perfect for us to put some sort of jump. I would really be stoked if someone were to jump over the pond at some point in time. Hopefully it happens. Maybe it will be me. I don't know. In other news, also while I was away doing RTR things, Johan made some really good progress on the Supra. Mike was here, he filmed some of that, so you're gonna see that footage now.
Back on the Supra, we are fitting the subframe in. I fit the subframe while Marco was doing the cage. And then I marked where I thought it would need to be cut, so then I could fit the subframe and then put the quick change in from Winters. Roughly, I marked off around here, gave myself enough space from here to here to access with a tool. I'm gonna clean it up a little more and then plate the inside of that because that's pretty much all we need for spacing. And then back here, I cut a little more than I needed to, but I have an idea for this section here, since it dips down, to make a plate that matches all across the same height, so that when I build the plate that covers all this, or this each section, it has somewhere to mount. All right, now on the bottom, you can see the HGK subframe that's been modified for the Winters quick change with the Drift HQ, custom Drift HQ plate with the 6 bolt, and then the gas tank. So it's kind of weird because it's almost, it went in just as if it was the E36. The subframe goes in independently. I actually put the subframe in first in the diff, not on purpose, but it kind of worked out where I was able to, I put that in first and then I was still able to get to the gas tank or get the gas tank in after the fact. So it's something good to know that if we wanted to service or do something with the gas tank or replace it for another one, we don't have to remove the subframe.
Right.
But it gives us enough clearance on this point. I have enough clearance for a dry shaft and is away from everything. The subframe also has been modified for the axles. So now I understand why this subframe was modified here. Because I was joking with Mike that maybe we were just trying to slam the car, but I see that they just placed the differential pretty high up.
Yeah.
So therefore they will need axle clearance. Apart from that, all the stock straps are not even on. It's just that one bolt on the front.
Yeah.
And it fits really good. So that's fitted. Now we could plate from down here. You can see somewhat what the cut that I made. So now we'll plate that up, and the rear end is done. So apart from covering the hose and everything. Now here, if you don't remember, this is where the factory battery goes, because the battery goes down here. The battery sits about this height, and there's something that just comes down right here, or even in front of the diff. So like the differential cover will be not serviceable. So that's why this is all cut out. Although if not, you couldn't service the cover.
Right.
Change gears and all that, because the battery sat here, so that whole tub got cut out. So now you could service or change gears and on the fly.
I'm here now with John. I just wanted to remind you guys, because I know I mentioned in past videos, in case you didn't see them, why we went with the stock gas tank. Believe it or not, I have the stock gas tank in the E36 too. I just like it because it places the gas tank extremely low and it fits the curvature of the car really nice. Radium makes a really nice fuel system for this car that will allow us to do things that we need to do. And it just saves a whole lot of fab, because you put a fuel cell in this thing. The proper place to put it would be as close to the front as possible, kind of like in this area. But then you got to put a firewall, and then that just kind of spirals down the road more and more. We're keeping it a little bit simpler, kind of like the E36 is, was the route that we decided to go. So what's next? Is it motor mount time?
Yeah, motor mount time. And then we do motor mounts, we do transmission mounts, and then after that is set and the motor is fixed where we want it, we could then start doing headers, intake, radiator, turbos.
No turbos, no turbos. But we did just get word that our front cover just got finished. So you might notice that we have a dry sump pan, but we don't have a dry sump cover. We do have a dry sump cover coming, because I did make the call to go dry sump on this, just knowing that I want to spin it to the moon, and it's gonna be sitting there at high RPM for a long time with drifting. So I figured it's worth the investment for an engine that definitely is a bit pricier than like a simple 13B or something, but that's cool. You got the rack relocation done. So this is the E92 rack.
Yeah, E90, E92 rack with the Wisefab retrofit brackets. It comes with a kit. It gives you the jig to weld it up, and then the rack just pulls right up. The thing I like about it is that the factory A90 steering column, almost fixed. I would like to shorten it a little bit, but it's like almost perfect.
So these cars come with an electric rack. Electric racks for drifting, not really the move. However, we are gonna be doing something different with this car, and it's gonna be the first time we're doing electric power steering. So even though it has a manual rack, we're gonna have an electric pump from...
An MR2?
An MR2?
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess that's the setup that James Dean runs in his car that he suggested to us a while ago, but we decided to keep manual power steering in the S15. Yeah. But it'll be cool to try it on something like this, because it's not a competition car. Right. We can kind of learn about it. If we like it, we can put it on other cars. So that way when your boy loses a belt on the bank, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so, and there's plenty of space here. Mm-hmm. The key, from what I hear from people that has success with it, they keep it close to the rack.
Got it.
One of the last things to place in the car, but all these, there's space here. If you guys look here, there's also the crash bar that slides into this and brings the bumper support all the way out here. So the radiator sits somewhat about here. So there's plenty of space for the pump and all the accessories that'll be added to it.
I also thought I'd update you guys, since I know a lot of you keep seeing the Porsche in the background and wondering what was up. The trade is officially going to be finalized today. He's bringing over all the wheels and stuff that I couldn't fit in the transport truck. And conveniently enough, all the parts that I had started ordering for this car started showing up. Got my Arcade Tunes tubular manifold. The Pure turbos came in. I think these are Pure 800s. It's big sad that I'm not going to be able to be making big power in this thing, but I'm stoked that they came. And then I've got all the CSF coolers for the car. Everything's all boxed up nicely, so it shouldn't be too bad to put back together. Big sad, but it's gotta go by. But that's your update on this. That's your update on everything else. And I will see you guys soon with more...
When you said